Hello, welcome to News 24. My name is Tshidi Media. We're coming to you live from Nasrec. It is day 2 of the EFF conference. But for journalists, it's actually kind of sort of like day 3. We've been here for a while, camped here, trying to bring you live updates, rolling updates of what's happening, rolling coverage, really, of the EFF Second National People's Assembly, an elective conference that actually culminated in a new leadership last night. I want you to take a look at what happened. We have a new top 6, or at least the EFF has a new top 6. Just watch.
I will now declare the results. For the position of the President, it is Mr. Julius Malema. May he please come forward. Thank you very much. Can we also have, for the position of Deputy President, Floyd Shivambu, to come forward, please? Can I also have, for the national chairperson, Veronica Mente, to please come forward. Secretary General Marshal Dlamini to come forward. Deputy Secretary General Poppy Mailula, please come forward. Treasurer General Umpile Mautwe, please come forward. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So there you have it, a new leadership collective with 2 familiar faces and a lot of other new faces to join them. If you notice the start of our stream, we've got new faces because the EFF has a new top 6. Of course, at the helm remains Julius Malema, their commander-in-chief. His second in command is Floyd Shivambu. Then you've got new faces, Marshal Dlamini. Some call him Mr. Chisampama. He's now the Secretary General, used to head up DOR. That's the Department, or Defenders rather, of the Revolution. We'll be chatting to our colleague Lizek Atwanda about them in a short while. You also have Poppy Moila, who's from Mpumalanga. She now comes in as Secretary General. You've got Umpile Mautwe from Tshwane in Gauteng, who is now the Treasurer General. And the last person who's now chairperson from the Western Cape is Veronica Mente. You might have known about her because she's dealt with a lot of the election work. She's been part of the teams helping the EFF do its election work and campaign ahead of pretty much all the polls since 2014, if I remember very well. Now, my colleague, as I said, Lizek Atwanda, joins joins us now, and we will speak about this department that is called the Defenders of the Revolution, the DOR, you know. But just before we get into it, let's talk about what I think you saw first outside where we're having dinner at about midnight after the top 6 was elected. Take a quick look at what happened outside of the dining area where delegates were meant to be having dinner.
We are tired of the DOR. Yes, sir. We are tired of the DOR. We are tired of the DOR. Yes, sir. We are tired of the DOR.
Now, DOR, Lizeka, has been known to be heavy-handed. I can tell you about times I've had clashes between the DOR and the marshals of the EFF. I remember a time in Colini, I think in 2017, where we were pushed around. Even Malema had to stop a speech because he saw how we're being dealt with. And funny enough, the person who's now, I think, fired from DOR is the person who actually defended us. I think he's the general. He, I believe, pepper sprayed people last night. At that time, he's the person who said, if someone says they're journalists, let them be journalists. Don't harass them. But what actually happened? I mean, I only saw the medical clinic area when we were driving out of the venue, where people were on stretchers, people were angry, delegates were shouting and chasing away DOR, saying, we don't want you here. What led to that?
Well, initially what I saw, because I saw somewhat of the tail end of what was going on at the dining hall, we just saw a whole crowd of people screaming and running outside of the dining hall. And then we went in to investigate. When we went in, we saw about 2 women who were being stretched out, who were being carried out in stretchers. One woman fainted before the ambulance could come, and fighters were angry, frustrated with DOR, and they kept on saying that the DOR was attacking females, and DOR was very volatile towards them, and they wanted accountability from their leadership as to why DOR is there. They were even saying that they want a DOR to be completely removed from this event, to rather have marshals.
What I do understand is that today the EFF is holding a number of discussions over the political reports and the organizational report. These were delivered yesterday. A really lengthy political report that was delivered by Julius Malema. It was over 3 hours. I think you missed it. You were very lucky. We were very tired at the end of it. But now, I understand that this issue came up again in the hall, and Julius Malema had a response. But just before we play Julius Malema's response for you, Liz, what were delegates saying today about to their leadership?
Delegates were still angry. They were still frustrated. They were expressing that frustration. They were coming up with ideas and solutions on how they can combat this issue between fighters and the DOR, the Department of the Defenders of
the Revolution.
I keep forgetting. But in any case, about 4 or 5. When I came into plenary, about 4 or 5 delegates touched on this point. Leadership, we need a more trained security team, a security team that can better deal with crowds, that can better manage crowds. And the leadership had its own views about this.
Speaking about the leadership and its own views, here's a quick clip of what Julius Malema had to say when those issues were raised to the new leadership about the Defenders of the Revolution and how they handle delegates. I mean, before I even play that, let me just quickly say, even as journalists, I was even asked many a times on Twitter, for instance, about how, oh, look, the media's finally getting what it wants to report on the EFF. And I said, that's not why we are here. We're here to tell the story of the 3rd largest political party in the country. And it just so happens that this incident happened. And so we cannot take blame for doing what we do, which is our job of telling the story. That's all we simply did as journalists. And I take an affront when people say, oh yeah, that is what you were looking for, and seeing us as so-called agents. We have a job to do with South Africans to think about who vote for this party. And that's why we bring them the story. But anyway, here's their leader, Julius Malema.
We said to them, any delegate who's misbehaving, you don't beat up a delegate or start pushing a delegate. You rather isolate a delegate and take the delegate to a DOR room to understand what is the problem. Because where there are many people who may not understand each other, and you may find that that delegate has got a genuine issue to raise. But because it's rowdy, you talk past each other. Ask the delegate to come into a quiet room, speak to those delegates. So you are here and saying this conference is good, beautiful, is running smooth, is because of those security guys. For us to be here, those people of the DOR had to put their lives at risk. And that's how you thank them. You come here and tell us you don't want them. When they were beaten with stones in Tshwane, in Gauteng, and everywhere else, protecting the conferences of the EFF. We shouldn't have that type of an attitude. We must train them. We must make sure they've got the necessary skill to deal particularly with legitimate delegates.
There's Julius Malema, and no, he doesn't think DOR needs to be gotten rid of. He doesn't agree with the delegates who are saying they don't want DOR. He thinks DOR is a necessity, says it protects the delegates, even though that's not what we saw happening last night. Please tell us just a little bit more of what you're to say.
There's 3 points that I want to discuss with you with what he said inside. Firstly, he conceded that DOR needs to have proper training in how they manage in crowd management. He conceded to that. And he also explained that they had had a conversation with DOR and how they should treat journalists. Like you just said, journalists have been at the receiving end of DOR's aggression, and it's not just this particular conference. I mean, just yesterday when we were trying to take footage of the people who were being taken out in stretchers, DOR was very aggressive towards us.
Bully us. Even you and I at the very end, where the gentleman said you can't be, and I said you can't tell us, you can't. We actually, and I think that's why journalists sometimes are stronger than you think they are. We took our stand and we said you can't tell us what we do or what we don't do.
Exactly. So he spoke about that, and he said that they had instructed DOR to be a little more understanding of the role of journalists, because there is that disconnect. Sometimes security, even in the ANC, sometimes security doesn't understand
in many
our
political
role.
Parties, particularly the ANC, you see it a lot.
Exactly.
Political security protocol, whichever you want to call it, feels like we are more of a nuisance, particularly in the ANC. Actually, it's more seen there than anywhere else, where we understood to be a nuisance, but actually we are there for a purpose. We are a necessity. You are a political party. We, like you say, you serve citizens. We also serve citizens. I can never emphasize that enough, that we have a role to play, and we should be allowed to play our role at the gatherings of these political parties. Yes.
And I'm going to touch on the last point, Tshidi. I felt like he was reprimanding little school kids when he spoke about the necessity of DOR in their events. He was saying that they must stop being excited. He was talking about how DOR is there to ensure that agent provocateurs and rascals do not infiltrate their events, and he spoke about how police would rather keep watch from a bird's eye from the gates. That's why there's a need for DOR. And he then said it felt like, to me, it felt like there were school kids, all these thousands and thousands of school kids. They didn't know how to behave. That's, to me, I took a bit of fault with, and
condescending.
It was very condescending. He does seem to defend DOR. He says that the general who you spoke of, the general has been fired or removed. I'm not sure what is I can't confirm whether he's been fired, but he's definitely been removed from this event. And he said that, because he's the head of DOR, he should have led. He should have led by example.
Shown better leadership. I absolutely agree. I think they've had a smooth conference. Really, they did, up until that moment where it just looked like chaos. Everywhere we went, from the outside the dining area right to the medical clinic, where you're like, but what is happening? Where are they? What I will also say is that I did see a few of the newly elected leaders actually trying to be hands-on and assist. And I don't know when they got a chance to celebrate, because then you have this disaster that's unfolding, and especially when you're trying to protect your image. When you speak about how he spoke to the delegates like school kids, it makes me think about how obsessed he seems with discipline. I mean, in his speech yesterday, 3 hour long, I think I heard the word discipline no less than five times. I think it might have been 10 times. It was repeated quite a lot by Julius Malema. But let's also speak about his rise, his rise back to the party. I mean, there was no question And I'm now thinking back to the nominations. The media was allowed in the nomination process, so we watched that. We all kind of went in knowing very well that Julius Malema would emerge. I'd been speaking to a number of lobby groups, at least 2 of the major lobby groups, about how they were managing, that caucuses. I was getting sent videos of the so-called Amatorokisi caucus. That's the slate that wanted Malema back. In fact, that's the lobby group that wanted an entire slate that is now the leadership of the EFF. And they were very excited. And while the other slate that wanted Dali Mpofu, who's the former chairperson, to come back as deputy, had said to me, you know what, it's looking very dicey. The numbers aren't for us, but you never know. And I think one of the surprising things for some people is hearing Mandisa's name come up, and someone like Naledi Cherwa, a Fees Must Fall activist, a member of parliament, standing up and saying that that's who she thinks must be the engine of the organization. Just take a look at how that played out.
You may proceed.
My name is Naledi Cherwa. I'm from Ward 6 in Mamelodi, Tshwane, Gauteng, and I nominate Mandisa Mashego for the position of Secretary General.
Mandisa Mashego. Ms. Mandisa Mashego, you have been nominated. Do you accept the nomination?
My name is Mandisa Mashego from Ward 101, Johannesburg. I accept nomination.
Lizeka Mandisa Mashego, who's the Gauteng chairperson, who opened this conference on Saturday morning by saying that cleansing the spirits of what happened here in 2017. Of course, is referring to when ANC and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was elected as ANC president in 2017, where the ANC held its own conference here at Nasrec. Mandisa is seen often as a polarizing figure, a difficult figure, not a favorite figure, but some who are watching politics from afar say, actually, that's the kind of women you need to come to the fore in the EFF. Somebody who's not everyone's favorite, who's her own person, who'll also challenge the so-called power base that lies with the CIC of the EFF. It didn't happen. The slate is what we expected. What do you make of what we saw last night?
I think it was necessary to have someone like Mandisa contest. That debate and that contestation in the party was necessary. Mandisa, I think I agree with you completely that the EFF, considering that so many people talk about yes men's next to Julius Malema, that individuals like Mandisa, a female, strong, can be polarizing, influential in Gauteng. We've seen how she has shaped the EFF in the province, and also what she's done within the Women's March, what she's done to shape the
leading that march against gender-based violence.
Yes. So that particular figure is absolutely necessary, and it was necessary for contestation. Fairly, contestation that will allow for other people to have their voices and their faces there. So it was, I actually enjoyed that.
Do you think Julius Malema has now surrounded himself with yes men, with the new leadership around him?
That's interesting. It's something that we'll wait to see. He chose this slate. Many have said he chose the slate. If he indeed chose the slate, he chose it for a reason. We know that he loves his power. We've seen how he surrounds himself with people who are
and those who speak against the status quo in the EFF, how they are now no longer part of the EFF.
Yes. So it says a lot about the man. Whether everyone there, your Veronicas, your Poppies, your Ompiles are yes men's, or they will toe the party line, that remains to be seen.
I have seen people praising the EFF for having a 50-50 representation at that level, saying, you know what, that's the good thing. I want you to give me a quick assessment of what you make of Dali Mpofu's play. Advocate Dali Mpofu, Silk, a senior, a great professional, really respected for his profession. He was once a part of the ANC, and many, when he left the ANC for the EFF, said, you're making a bad move and you're going to regret it. If not sooner, definitely later. He made a play yesterday for deputy president against Floyd Shivambu. He did not meet threshold at all. Some people said, again, almost like Mandisa, it was important for Dali Mpofu to stand up and say, I am available, I must want to contest Floyd Shivambu. It's important for ideas of democracy in any institution, I suppose. But some are saying, actually, your initial play to leave the ANC was a terrible move, and look at where you are now. Something he actually should hang his head in shame at how his career in the EFF was so short-lived. What do you make of it?
Well, I agree with some parts of what you're saying. I think that it is embarrassing. It's an embarrassing time for him. I think he will really need to think about his political career going forward. Even if he is nominated to be in the CCT team, he really won't have any teeth. He's shown when he was chairperson of the party, he didn't have teeth. Certainly when he becomes part of the CCT, he won't really have any muscle to shape things or to move things around. It's going to be an interesting time for Dali Mpofu. He'll have to do some introspection and find out what he wants to do. I don't really think that him moving away from the ANC, I mean, he didn't really, considering how the ANC was shaping itself, it didn't seem like it was feasible for him to have any powers in any case. It
seemed like you could relate to the party at all at the time. All right, Lisa, I am going to call it quits right there. I'm going to leave it there because in a short while, we will be crossing live from a media briefing with the EFF's new top 6, you know. They'll be chatting to the media. As I said to you, they spent most of the morning in plenary discussing the organizational report where delegates were raising issues such as what happened last night with the defenders of the revolution. Now they'll get a chance to speak to the media. We'll get to put questions to them about what's the way forward. You know, the next 5 years, what's the vision? How will this party shape itself going forward? But I also know that they will have commissions still. Remember, there are discussion documents that the EFF has to delve into to discuss its party position, its posture on a number of issues, education, the economy. So they'll be delving into that. They'll be going into commissions in the afternoon. There is a stage, I must actually tell you, so here at Nasrec somewhere there is a stage that's set up. Apparently there's a social program in the evening at the end of the day. And then tomorrow, on Monday, the final day where Julius Malema will deliver a closing speech and move forward towards the 2021 elections and the 2024 national elections. But from us, for now, that's it. My name is Tshidi Media from News 24, coming to you live from Nasrec.